Hey guys, Toolman Tim here. Welcome back to the workshop where we build business, create community, find freedom, and share success. It's Monday morning, which means it's time for another Money Making Minute. And this week I got a really cool one. This week is a community-sourced video that was inspired by a couple of you guys, specifically Ken Cornelius, you know who you are out there, who started sharing with me some tips on my favorite cleaner, residue remover, whatever you want to call it. So this week we've got a community sourced video of my top 4 uses for Goof Off. Alright guys, real quick before we dive into the review, if you're new here and you don't know who I am and want to check out more about me, go to toolmantim.co, that's toolmantim.co. You'll find everything you need there, including the shop where I have a whole bunch, over 100 recommended products that I have used. Amazon links there so you can check them out. If you pick any of them up, they'll help support the channel. And if you want to become part of our monthly mailing list, at the same website, the link at the bottom, sign up for our monthly workshop once a month email to find out everything that there is to know that's going on in the workshop. All right, guys, so you guys know that I love Goof Off. I love to goof off? I don't know. Anyway, so this has been my go-to, well, anyway, let's get into it. But it's been my go-to remover, my go-to cleaner for industrial accidents for the last 3 years. Ever since I started using it, I realized, man, this stuff is good. And keep in mind, this is just the residential grade biodegradable stuff. There is a professional grade, which I've been reminded on multiple occasions, make sure you wear like a mask or gloves. Don't want to get that on your skin. This stuff probably still isn't recommended, but on the bottle it says it's totally safe to use. This one I tend to use without gloves, doesn't matter. Anyway, so let's get into our top 4 uses of Goof Off. And number 1, as you guys have always heard my famous tagline, if you're looking for a product that'll remove paint off vinyl siding, well, this is it. Let me tell you, back when I was just learning how to start, how to do big paint jobs, I did the best I could, right? And we had to paint this garage, and it had 12-foot ceilings with stucco. And I was still really learning. It was a lot of loose stucco. I should have cleaned it better. But what ended up happening was, as I would roll, I'd get a ton of splatter. And I thought, you know, before we started, we did our due diligence and we put down rags and drop cloths and the whole works. And it worked pretty good. But you know what? I ended up having a lot of oversplatter that I was not happy with. It was all over the cement floor. And I panicked because I was new at this. I didn't know what to do. Did a half-assed job. I should have done better anyway. So I went into my local home hardware. Love those guys there. They're awesome. And of course, once again, I said, help, I've got paint on the floor and I need to remove it. They said, try this, it'll work. And I'd used Goo Gone, but it was really oily and stuff before. Never used it for paint. It was okay. This stuff is literally the cat's ass. It worked. My God, did it work. Spray it on, brush it off. Spray it on, let it soak for 30 seconds, brush it off. And it worked great. And then, you know, to the point where my daughter decided to paint her steps this year, and she wasn't as careful as she should have been, like father, like daughter, right? Ended up getting a bunch of paint and stain on the vinyl siding. She come over and, of course, didn't want to buy her own. Dad, can I borrow your Goof Off? She took it, and it worked. So, number 1, man, this is the best paint overspray remover that I have found. Number 2, and this one comes from Ken, our buddy Ken Cornelius, or more specifically, his wife. Now, the biggest problem was I couldn't find a volunteer to test this one out, so I'd love to hear from you guys, but I love this community-centered mindset. I love getting all this interaction from you guys. But this one was removing gum from hair. Now, I suppose I could have probably got $1 or whatever, but I asked my twins, and neither of them wanted to let me slather their hair with gum and then use Goof Off to get it out. But I digress. But they said, basically, spray it in, let it sit, and then comb it out, and it comes out really well. And you know what? I did a bunch of reading on the internet, and it turns out it really does work. Again, make sure you use the biodegradable stuff, because you do not want to be using the industrial strength stuff in somebody's hair. But you know, it's been a few years since any of my kids, well, my adult kids are moved out, but any of my other kids have gone to bed with gum in their mouth. Charlotte, I'm looking at you. I love you. She's not actually here, but she'll hear this in the video. Fallen asleep and then woken up with gum crusted in their hair. It happens, and you know what we normally do is just cut it out. But then they have that funny patch in their hair and they're embarrassed. So the next time, hopefully it never happens again because they are 11 now, but I am going to test this out. And if I get gum on carpet, upholstery, that sort of thing, this is supposed to work that way as well. So thanks for the tip, Ken. Thank your wife for it too. I always appreciate that. Number 3, and that is removing Sharpie. This stuff will work, but the professional industrial grade is better. This was recommended to me by a user over on Float. So if you guys don't follow me over on Float, or if you're not over on Float, go by and check it out. I love the platform. I've got just about 800 followers over there. It's flote.app. And I went back through to find it. I'd written the tip down. So if you were the one who shared that tip with me about getting Sharpie off the walls, please contact me and I'll put your contact info in the description below, because I hate it when I can't remember somebody's name. But basically they said they had a bunch of rental properties, and whenever they'd go in, of course, there'd always be Sharpie on the walls. I don't understand it. I don't know why, but they use the industrial strength Goof Off to get in there, spray it, and remove it. Now, I got to say, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I used to use Mr. Clean magic erasers, and I like them, but I don't know if anybody's noticed, they seem to disintegrate faster, almost. Maybe I'm just, up in the clouds, or maybe I'm looking for a conspiracy theory where it isn't. But I think when they first put those damn things out, they realized they were too durable, so they started cutting the quality back so you'd have to get more. But I just can't seem to get them to work as well. They will if you scrub them, a magic eraser, or, again, my favorite, smoke and Sharpie cover-up, but bin sealer paint, that works really well as well. But industrial strength Goof Off will actually remove it. And tip number 4, this one come from our buddy Ken Cornelius again, and this is the one that inspired me to start collecting up these tips. This tip was so good, I don't want to spoil it, but it literally is, anyway, I loved it because I ended up having a product that I used for one thing, removing paint off of stuff, and I never bothered to try it in any other way. And Ken said, you need to try this stuff on getting bugs off the front of your windscreen, your windshield, and the front grille of your truck. Now, I got to say, if you guys have ever been to Alberta, I'm sure it's the same in other places, but the bugs out here, as soon as they squash, they turn to like this hard resin glue on the front of your truck. Pressure washing alone is a pain in the ass to get it off. You have to pressure wash and wash and wash, and it still doesn't want to come off. I used to use Spray 9. If you guys have used Spray 9, it works okay. I've had a couple community members recommend it, but it does not work as good as Goof Off. See, I just spoiled it, but I had to talk about it. So Spray 9 and pressure washing together usually worked pretty good, I have to say. And Josh over at Gander Flight, he recommended using a damp dryer sheet. I haven't tried that one out yet, but I'm going to do maybe a side-by-side test of a few different ways to remove bugs off the front of a vehicle. But you guys, I want to cut to some footage here and show you this one. This tip was so good, it blew my mind. So hang in, I'll be right back. So we're going to just spray it with Goof Off. I'm going to let it sit for 60 seconds because it's really hot. We're going to use some of our famous grab rags and see how easy it comes off. Then we're also going to test out a new scraper I picked up on the windshield with the Goof Off as well. So hang in there. We will give this 60 seconds and we'll see how it works. We're just going to do a little patch here. All right, that should be good. Okay, so I have not tested this whatsoever, never tried it before, so you'll get to see what my reaction is going to be. But all I can say is even a pressure washer doesn't do well on these bugs. So if it even softens them up half, and then I'm able to wash them off with a hose or a pressure washer from here, I will be impressed. But here goes. Well, I gotta say, that is a hell of a lot better, Ken, than I even expected. Look at that. That was 1 minute with Goof Off. Wow, that is disgustingly cool. I've never had something that wiped off bugs quite as easy as that. It's gonna need a second coat to get it going real good, but that is as thick and nasty as you are gonna find for bugs on the prairies. I gotta say, that is an A1 tip. Thanks, Ken Cornelius. Love the last name. And So what that tip to me was worth the price of admission alone, and that's what inspired me to do this video, was showing you guys sometimes there's outside the box ideas or concepts that we can use products for that we never think of. And Goof Off was easy to recommend to begin with, but with this new tip from Ken for removing the bugs off the front of the truck, and combined with the Stanley scraper that you saw for taking it off the windshield, top notch, number one. So I hope you guys like this. I'd love to do more community sourced videos. I love getting your guys' knowledge, because this old brain can only hold so much, and there's tons of things I've never thought of and I'd love to be able to share with everyone else. So if you got some tips for any one of the today's tool products, anything I recommend, or anything just out of the ordinary, outside the box, share it with me. Put it in the description below, or in the comments below, guys. And hey, if you're new here and you want to become part of the community and hang around, hit the subscribe button. Stick around. We love sharing our knowledge with one another, and I love talking about tools. All right, guys, that's it for me this week. Thanks for dropping by. I always love it when you spend time with me in the shop. And as always, stay happy, stay healthy, and have a great week.